Today we're checking out the Sennheiser Accentum True Wireless earbuds. And these are one of the best sounding earbuds you can get at this price. But are they the best overall? Well, let's find out. Spoiler, they're not. They sound great though. Review over. Only the picky people need to keep watching now. So retail price is $199 US, 349 Australian. They are usually on sale at about half that price though. And today I'll be scoring and ranking them in 10 categories against like 37 earbuds now, I think I'm at. That's a lot. Now here's my current leaderboard with the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 in that first spot. That's going to be a pretty major comparison because these are priced pretty close. You can customize the scoring as well and compare all the earbuds easily with my free spreadsheet linked below. I'll cover that later though. So let's start with category 1, comfort. And I'm scoring them a 7.5 out of 10. It's okay, not amazing though. So you do get 4 sizes of ear tips included, which is nice. The bud design is pretty interesting though. So you get a moderately deep fit here, similar to the Momentum 4, a little bit of suction and pressure in the ear canal. It's just a large bud though, which does work fine for my large ears, but I still get some slight discomfort after about 2 hours of use on the outer part of my ear where the outer part of the bud rests, because it's just a pretty chunky earbud. So I'm not too sure how well they'll work with smaller ears. I tested them on my girlfriend with much smaller ears than me. She uses the smallest ear tips and she didn't like the feeling as the buds would easily push out due to the actual bulk of the earbud. So not terrible, just keep in mind it's a large bud. Now onto category 2, the security of the fit. I'm scoring them an 8 out of 10 here. Keep in mind I keep most of the scoring here for fit pretty close because this is just my experience. Fit's different for everyone. Now you don't get a wingtip here, which is why I have them scored half a point lower than the Sennheiser Momentum 3 and 4. But at least for me, they're staying really well when weight training. Any exercise, heavy bench press is always a tricky test, and they're staying completely fine. I wouldn't recommend these when running though, due to the moderate body-borne noise, which is your own heavy breathing and impact on the ground, reverberating through the ear tips. It's a bit more than usual here. But another issue when running is that with the transparency mode on, the microphones pick up wind incredibly easy. And if you are running, you normally want to run with the transparency mode on so you can hear your surroundings. So just keep that in mind. They stay in fine, but with the body-borne noise and the high wind pickup, not ideal. If you like using your earbuds when training though, you do get an IP54 dust and water resistant rating. So fine for any sweaty workout, if you're caught out in the rain, and if you're in a dusty environment, you get some extra protection. Now onto category 3, case and battery life. So you're getting advertised 8 hours on the buds, 28 hours in total with noise cancelling off. That'll go down to 6 hours on the buds and 21 hours in total with noise cancelling on. So the earbud battery is okay. Total battery isn't great. It's a lot lower than the 30 hours total the Momentum 4 have, but the case is much thinner and smaller, almost half the size. So it's nice to see they shrunk that chunker down. It's still about middle of the pack in terms of thickness though. Here it is compared to the AirPods Pro 2, which is the thinnest case I have tested. The fast charge is on the slower side, so you can chuck the buds in the case for 10 minutes and you get 1 hour's playback on the earbuds. The average for most buds is 5 minutes, giving you an hour's playback. But you can charge a case wirelessly, which is nice. Still, I'm scoring them a 6.5 out of 10 here. Those high ranked buds with more battery, thinner cases, as well as dust and water resistance on the actual case. Now onto category 4, controls. And these are the same controls as the Momentum 4. So you get touch controls with a single, double, triple tap and long hold. You get some nice customization, but you can only have the volume set to the long hold, which I still think works the best anyway. So you can just hold down the earbud and continue to adjust volume up or down. So you get everything you need here, as well as the ability to mute your microphone on a phone call. The noise cancelling and transparency controls are set to different functions, which is convenient at times, but there's still no chime or voice command when you turn on the transparency mode. But you do get some beep feedback when you turn noise cancelling on or off though. Sennheiser is the only brand to not give you a function when you turn transparency mode on. Now you still get wearing detection here, so that'll automatically pause and play your music when you take one or both earbuds out of your ear. And it's super responsive, but if you place a bud with the sensor down on a desk, for example, it will activate and think the bud is in your ear. This is not an issue on the Momentum 4. But one of my biggest gripes on the Momentum 4 in terms of controls carries over to the Accentum. So this is when you have transparency mode on and you take one or both earbuds out of your ear, it'll automatically turn your noise cancelling off. And then when you put the buds back in your ear, it'll turn noise cancelling on rather than turn the transparency mode back on. So if you have the transparency mode on and you take the buds out of your ear, you need to manually turn the transparency mode back on, which no brand does either. Sennheiser is the only brand to do this. I've mentioned this all the way back in my Momentum 3 review and there's still no fix. Sennheiser, I reckon they're purposefully tormenting me. You wouldn't do that to me, Sennheiser. Senny. I know you watch my videos now, so it's the same stuff I've been saying for years. Still, they're getting an overall score here of 8 out of 10. You get everything you need, you get some nice customization. The higher ranked buds are giving you features like skin detection with the wearing detection, as well as swipe control for volume up and down. Now, category 5 is connectivity. So you get Bluetooth 5.3, SBC, AAC, and regular aptX. So no aptX lossless or aptX adaptive high res, which the Momentum 4 does have. This is fine. Most people, you're barely gonna notice a difference between aptX, aptX adaptive, or aptX lossless. I've done the vigorous testing and it's an absolute mess to do, and you don't really get a benefit except for lower battery and worse connection. That's just my experience though. Maybe you do get a benefit. If you do, it's probably placebo, but whatever. But you still get LA audio and Auracast. So more future-proofing. I'm yet to actually see any Auracast enabled devices like around where I'm at. I think gyms get them, but yet to test it. Now you can use one earbud while leaving either in the case. And when you're using the one bud, it's gonna work in mono mode. So you hear the left and right audio channel out of the one earbud. You also get multi-point connection here, so you can have 2 devices connected to the buds at the same time. You just need to pause playback on one device before you play it on the other device for that audio to kick in. Now, when it comes to latency, watching videos is completely fine. When it comes to mobile gaming, casual gaming is okay. If you're into quicker action games like shooters, it's like maybe just manageable. There's still a little bit of delay from the gunshot and what you actually hear. You do get a low latency gaming mode now, which they added to the Momentum 4 as well. In my testing on the iPhone, it made no difference, but on my Asus Zenfone 10, it did improve the latency, but to the point where now the latency is just on par with the iPhone. So total score here is a 7.5 out of 10. Losing some points for no high-res codecs, but again, not a huge issue to be honest. Now onto category 6, call quality. And I run through 3 tests here: a quiet room, simulation crowd noise, and a simulation windy city with construction noise. Total score is the average of all 3 tests. First off, you can mute your microphone when you're on a phone call using the touch controls. And you have the option to automatically turn on the transparency mode when you answer your call, and you have 3 levels of transparency that you can choose from. But if you don't have that setting on, it's automatically going to turn noise cancelling off, and you aren't going to be able to turn noise cancelling on even if you go into the app. I think it's nice to just be able to easily switch between noise cancelling on, noise cancelling off in transparency mode, but that's all you're getting now. So let's see how the Accentum compares to the Momentum 4, as well as one of the highest ranked earbuds for call quality, the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Momentum 4 in a quiet room. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Accentum in a quiet room. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro in a quiet room. All right, now we're going to see how the microphones block out some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Momentum 4 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Accentum with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro with some simulation crowd noise. All right, now I have some city noise, some construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Momentum 4 with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, here's the call quality of the Sennheiser Accentum with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro with some city noise, construction noise, and simulation wind. All right, category 7 is app customization and extra features. So you can get the Sennheiser Smart Control app on iOS or Android. And the home screen has your earbud and case battery. Connection management at the top there, so you can see all your connected devices. EQ has your 5-band EQ, which is okay, you don't get the best freedom in there, but you can save your own presets, and there's a special bass boost and podcast mode you can turn on. Soundcheck will make an EQ for you based off your hearing preferences. So you just run through some tests and play your own music. It works quite well. You have your transparency customization with 3 options, as well as the option to turn it on when you answer your phone. And you have the option to automatically pause your music whenever you turn the transparency mode on as well. Next, you have your noise cancelling toggles. You can turn it on, turn it off, or turn on the wind reduction mode. Sound zones will allow you to set EQ settings and noise control options based on certain locations you visit. So it'll turn on when you visit that location and turn off when you leave it. Keep in mind, you need to be logged in to your Sennheiser account to use this. The Find My Headphones feature will use location if you misplace your earbuds. You have your Auracast options there to allow you to connect to nearby broadcasts. And In that settings tab at the bottom right, we'll have your smaller extras like your firmware updates, your low latency toggle, and you can see what codec you're currently streaming at. There's a battery eco mode, which will just turn off app decks to save some battery life. You only really get benefit there on Android. You have your smart pause toggle, which will allow you to turn on or off your wearing detection. You can choose to auto accept calls when you take the earbuds out of the case. You have some auto power off options, tone options, as well as language settings, factory reset option in the app. You also get a battery protection mode, so it won't charge the buds to 100% and also will charge them slower. So like if you're not in a rush or don't need all the battery life in one go, it's best to leave that option on. The idea is it'll prolong the battery life of the earbuds. And finally, you have the option to customize all the tiles, so you can just turn off whatever you don't use, so you get a bit of a cleaner user experience. So overall, you're getting the same features as a Momentum 4, so I'm scoring them a 7.5 out of 10. The only thing I'm missing is the sound personalization, which I'll get to a bit later. All right, now onto category 8, noise cancelling. And how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck on my soundbar and play simulation plain noise and crowd noise, so I get low, middle, high, consistent and inconsistent sounds. And the Accentum get a score of 7 out of 10. It's okay, but the Momentum 4 is noticeably stronger in both tests. So at this price, you can get stronger noise cancelling from Nothing, OnePlus or Soundcore. Now in terms of EQ shift, this is how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off compared to transparency mode. And it's very minimal between all three modes. So slightly less EQ shift than the Momentum 4. They had a little bit going from noise cancelling on to noise cancelling off. Now there's a very minimal amount of white noise hiss with noise cancelling on. Keep in mind you don't get any adjustment of the strength of the noise cancelling. If you want, you can turn the wind reduction mode on. So that'll stop the microphones from picking up wind, which they do quite easily if there's a moderate amount of wind outside. But this will bring your noise cancelling strength down by about 30 to 40%. And finally, if you want to use noise cancelling with one earbud with the other in the case, that works fine. You can activate noise cancelling with the controls or do so in the app. All right, now category 9 is the transparency mode. And I'm scoring the Accentum an 8 out of 10 here. Overall, it's pretty close to the Momentum 4. The clarity is decent, it's not overly amplified, so you get a pretty natural transparency mode. There is some mild occlusion though, so that's kind of like that suction feeling you get in your ear, and when you speak yourself, you kind of get that blocked ear effect. There's also a mild amount of white noise hiss. This is only noticeable if you're in a pretty quiet environment though. And you get 3 levels of strength adjustment. I found the middle setting to be the best. It was the most natural. You can turn on the high mode, but then the white noise increases a bit too much. One major downside of the transparency mode is that it picks up wind incredibly easy. The Momentum 4 have the same issue because the microphone placement is on the front of the earbud. So when you're wearing the earbuds, the microphones are on the front. So when you have any forward momentum, even if it's not a windy day, that you still create some wind just by walking forwards. The microphones also pick up that wind. So it's just not the best placement. I really hope for future earbuds from Sennheiser, they just change that mic placement or use a different microphone with some mesh on there or something like that. Hope to see that soon. But now onto the final round, sound quality. And starting with my max volume test, I got just over 111 decibels. So compared to all the earbuds, it is on the quieter side, but still you're getting plenty of volume here. I found I was casually listening around 60%. When you go past 80%, this is easily in hearing loss territory. So they're not the loudest bud overall. The Momentum 4 do go a bit louder, but for most cases, unless you're a volume junkie, you're gonna be fine. But now onto the sound quality itself. I'm gonna start here just by giving you the score. I'm scoring them an 8 out of 10. At this price, some of the best sound that you can get. I think it's just a very pleasing listening experience. Even just the stock tuning, you're getting a pretty natural, balanced experience. But I like boosting the sub bass slightly, dialing down the mid bass and boosting the treble. So with that adjustment here, the bass response you're getting has a little bit of punch to it. You get some nice deep sub bass rumble, a smooth mid bass response. Overall, it's a pretty clean bass response. Not over the top, definitely not bass head kind of bass here, but it's natural, it's clean. I'd say the mid-range here is a standout though. So both male and female vocals stand out really well. They're not too forced or over the top. It's a very natural but full experience when it comes to vocals. And when it comes to instrumentation, like your percussion, your horns, I'm a bit of a metalhead, so I really noticed distorted guitars were very well separated from the other instrumentation, and they just have a nice presence to them. So in terms of mids, I do have to give the slight edge to the Accentum compared to the Momentum 4. The treble is also decent here as well. You get that classic Sennheiser, nice sparkle with the treble. You get some nice detail here, although it's not quite on the level of the Momentum 4. So I still think the Momentum 4 sound better overall when it comes to soundstage, that upper treble sparkle, and you get a little bit more rumble in that deep sub bass. So I find you can get a bit more of a dynamic, rich experience on the Momentum 4. That is when you use the sound personalization on those buds, which you don't get on the Accentum. You just get the regular sound check and 5-band EQ. So to sum it up, I'd quickly explain the Momentum 4 as sounding rich and lively. The Accentum is a more pleasant and natural listening experience. Any song or genre I threw at the buds, I just felt like relaxed and at ease listening to the earbuds, which is kind of a random thing to say. I just enjoyed any music I threw at them. So if you want a more laid back listening experience, this is gonna work great for you. If you're a bit more of a bass head, you can chuck on that bass boost EQ preset. This does bring the clarity down quite a bit, so you can kind of do some Frankensteining in there and push out some pretty decent bass, but you can only push out so much sub bass here. If you want a more over-top bass experience, you can get that on the Momentum 4 or buds like the OnePlus Buds 3 or Nothing Ear. And those two buds are gonna be the main comparisons overall because they're priced quite similarly. In terms of sound, I'd actually put the Accentum basically on par with the Nothing Ear. You're getting a very similar experience here. I do find the Nothing Ear did have a slightly cleaner sound, where the Accentum was pretty close in terms of clarity, but does stand out when it comes to the treble sparkle and detail. Now, I was kind of surprised when testing these earbuds out because I did watch a few reviews when they first came out and read some reviews, and everyone seemed to like the sound, but it was nothing too impressive, but I think it's some of the best sound you can get at this price. Now, these have been updated via firmware, so I don't know if they've actually changed the sound from when they first came out. But this is just my experience. I've really liked the sound. I almost scored them an 8.5 out of 10, but after comparing them back and back, especially to the Nothing Ear, I had to put them on par with the Nothing Ear, which also has a score of 8. But that wraps up all 10 categories, and before we go into the final score, here's how you can customize the scoring with my free spreadsheet link below. So on there, you can compare all the earbuds easily, and you just need to fill out a number in the importance column, which will multiply the entire category for all the earbuds and give you a new custom score in order of highest score to lowest score. But now the final scores are in, and the Accentum finished with 75 out of 100. So like I said at the start, great sound at this price, but there are better overall earbuds you can get. So if it's a better all-rounder you're after with a similar sound to the Accentum, then Nothing Ear is gonna be the better value option. So check out my full review here. Thanks for tuning in, stay picky, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.